Welcome to a brand new thing we're doing here at Soul Salt. I'm going to literally coach live. And what you're going to get to do is watch what it's like inside a coaching session. So we have on the call today, Chloe. Chloe, say hi.
Hi. Hi, world.
So Chloe and I have worked together for how long?
God, now it's been like just over a year.
Yes. And while this is not anything we've rehearsed, we do know each other. We know what Chloe's been working on this last year. And so we're aware of that. So, what you, the audience, if you're eavesdropping, you get to see what it's like in the trenches as we organically unwind into a live coaching session. So, Chloe, take it away. Give us some of the background, and then we're going to find out where you want to go today in your session.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hi, my name is Chloe, and I am based in Illinois. And yeah, so I was a former journalist working in Chicago for the last like 10 years. And about a year and a half or 2 years ago, I was working at I knew I wanted to transition and get more like digital strategy kind of skills. So I started working at a small SEO firm. And then right before COVID, as the terror of terrors, I got laid off of my job, which was okay because it was actually a job I was kind of looking to move away from. But yes, got laid off and, was also then faced with the pandemic and just like this crippling sense of what do I do next and how do I get through this? And so, yeah, found, Lynn and I started working together and, just a bunch of amazing things happened. Like, I think the two biggest experiments that I did, when I say experiment, that's something that I feel like Lynn, you very much encourage in your practice of coaching, which has been, a very like eye-opening experience for me in terms of the way I think about the next steps of my career or my life. But yeah, I think the two experiments I did that really, have been very meaningful were both taking these writing therapy classes, which kind of opened me up to new ways of seeing how maybe I could be using my journalism skills like differently, but still using them. And then also kind of still going ahead and picking up some digital strategy clients. And so I feel like the two things that were kind of concrete that came out of that were one, I actually started a digital strategy business that is, company of me. So it's still very fledgling, but I love it. It's been good. And I love the flexibility and I love the people I'm working with. And then, yeah, I feel like the writing therapy, in part, like thinking that way and using my journalism skills, I started this podcast with my cousin who actually was going through pancreatic cancer at the time. And he had reached out to me wanting to tell his story through a podcast of what it was like to have this diagnosis. And so we did this podcast together. And he ended up passing away at the beginning of this summer, which was, a very hard thing. But then out of that too, and out of that project, I've started a project called the Alive Hour, which is also kind of it's in the realm of podcasts, but me and Len have been, we've been throwing around all kinds of terms trying to figure out what the heck this thing is. Maybe it's just nebulous thing that'll never be named, but audio journey or sort of mini meditative bite, but it's very like a short form, kind of more experimental sound narrative combined, and somewhat kind of just exploring like what is this space that we're all in together in the world right now, coming out of a pandemic and coming out of a crisis, and what does that mean, and what does it mean to listen and be still and kind of be honest, I guess. So so that's those things I think have come, those are some of the biggest things I think in my life right now that I feel very positively about, and those things have come, I think, really directly out of the work that you and I have done this past year, which has been phenomenal.
Yeah, so you've released it. It's kind of this new art form. Maybe sounds like a vlog or it sounds like a podcast, but you're at a particular inflection point right now that you wanted to bring into coaching. What is that?
Yes. So yes, it's interesting because, I feel like on some of what I am doing these things, I am, started this company and I'm still continuing my education with, getting the company going, and just very recently launched the Alive Hour in the last couple of weeks. but I feel like I am still, and this is something, Lynn, you and I have talked about, but I feel like I'm still hearing these voices that won't go away. And there are all those voices that are like, you shouldn't be doing this. You can't, you're not going to be able to keep up with it. Sort of this, like, who do you think you are to be doing this? Or why do you think people want to hear your voice? Which is all very messed up when you say it out loud, obviously, but it doesn't really stop those voices still from sort of being there on this low level, like when I'm trying to sleep, or during the day. There's just kind of a low level anxiety around sort of feeling like I can't do it, even though it doesn't make any sense because I'm already doing it. But yeah, I think I would really just I want to go forward, I think, with all these things. I am going forward, but I would really like to go forward without wherever this like real deep sense of self-doubt is coming from. I would like to, I would like those voices to start getting quieter, and I think trust myself more with these things that I have started creating that still feel new and fledgling and a little scary and vulnerable.
We'll see if we can work on that trust, because it does sound like the classic concerns of imposter syndrome. And you put yourself out, it's very vulnerable, and it's something that comes from the soul. So just very quickly, we're going to do some questions, rapid fire. 1 is low, 10 is high. And let's just look at in the category of insight about how to do what it is you're trying to do. Do you have low insight, like a 1, medium insight, like a 5, or are you pretty insightful about knowing what you're doing with this project? What's the number?
I'd say it's like an 8 or maybe a 9 at this point. 8 for sure.
Okay, an 8 or a 9. What's your motivation to do this project? Is it low, medium, or high?
High.
Like what? Like over a 10?
Yes.
10 plus.
Yes. 10 plus, 15.
Yes, okay. What's your capacity, your strengths, your skills, your knowledge, your ability to put it together and create this thing?
Well, good question there. I would say mostly like a 9 or a 10 for sure. I do feel and have felt like you and I've talked about this, but like the music element of this is important to me, and it has been since the beginning. And I feel like that's a part that I don't feel as strong on, and so that part makes me more nervous than like the narrative or poetry writing or the putting together the big picture of it or the sending out of the newsletter. Those things all feel very in my wheelhouse. And the music, which does feel to me like a very important component of this, that's not as strong. So that's scarier to me.
Okay, that's good and honest. Let's talk about real time, because you've started your business, you're making money, it's bringing in money so that you can earn a living while you experiment with the Alive Hour. Real time, do you have a high amount of time to put into it, a low amount of time, a medium of time? And when I say high amount, is it enough? Real time, do you get enough time to get into the creativity and to do the thing that you say you want to do with the Alive Hour?
Ooh. Yeah, that's a good one. It feels a little bit more like last month when or last couple months when I was really cranking on it, it felt like a high, medium to high. Right now, with everything else and trying to get the digital strategy business also going, now it's starting to feel like a low to medium, like I have to work harder to prioritize it.
So you may be somewhere between 3 and 6 on this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Then let's talk about your accountability, holding yourself accountable to doing the things that you need to do, or having a system that checks in on you. Where are you with that?
That's a good question. Well, with the digital strategy business, I feel like it's pretty high, actually. I think I hold myself accountable and get have the tasks and do the tasks. With the Alive Hour, it's starting to feel like that's the thing that, has to come in second, because it's not the thing that's making money. So it's, what I mean? It's not the super priority or the uber priority.
Mm-hmm. So where is the accountability on that? How are you holding yourself? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it feels lower. I don't think I'm holding myself as accountable, actually. Like I don't have as many, I have some tasks written down, but there's not like I'm going to start on by this day, this, I've been doing the things like, okay, set up the newsletter, pick a day, set up the newsletter, get it out. I mean, it's happening, but it's not, doesn't feel, I guess, very regimented.
Okay. So give me a number on that.
4 to 5, probably.
All right. So I'm going to play these back to you, and you tell me what you notice in the pattern. As far as insight, knowing what you're doing, 8 or 9 out of 10. So you're at 80, 90%. Motivation, you're 150%. Capacity, 9 to 10, except there's this little thing that makes you a little nervous around the music. Real time, 3 to 6. That's where you started to drop. Accountability to your digital work that brings in the cash, 10. 4 to 5 when it comes to the Alive Hour. So it sounds like real time, you're not getting as much time as maybe you would like to feel secure and to say, I've got this. And accountability wise, maybe you're holding yourself more accountable to the thing that's bringing cash in than the thing that's the future or the dream. And then there's this question about music. So now that you've heard yourself, what do you sense is in your way of really trusting and building even more trust with self on this project?
Well, based on what you said, and that was all really ringing true, I think it feels to me like treating the Alive Hour like a job, or not treating it like a job, but like giving it the kind of priority that I'm giving the digital strategy company, meaning like, it sounds to me like, yes, starting to really carve out meaningful time that I commit to and say no to other things because this has to take priority, because it actually is a priority, and not just making it like, oh, that's the fun thing I do that I'll get to it, kind of thing.
So you need to make it more real.
I need to make it more real. Yeah.
Okay. What else are you hearing? Because I did hear something about planning or scheduling or something that I picked up on an innuendo you were dropping.
I don't know. That's a good question. Well, I guess I was thinking with scheduling, I should schedule time for it, like actually block out time and experiment with that. Like, just like I would if I was on a call with you right now, like I would block the time, and I'm not doing that right now. I'm just kind of finding it willy nilly.
You could, like, it's fun, and so I'll just do it when I have that time.
Yeah.
That's fun time. Okay. And then how are you going to address this question about the music? Because that scares you, and sometimes the thing that scares us is something we have to look at.
It's a good point. Well, I've noticed that, and I've talked to you about this before, but like sitting with it and doing it really helps a lot. So actually, I mean, that might fit in the actually carving out the time and then sitting with it and then making the thing. I think that always makes me feel better. Like, oh, I can do it. I can do this. Like, it might not be exactly what I not always be exactly what I think it's going to be, but I think it's always comes out insightful and meaningful,
Yes. Okay. Let's summarize then.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about the imposter syndrome and building trust with yourself?
Good. I'm feeling better about it. I feel like it really helped for you to identify that I need to treat this more seriously than I am. I don't think I was able to verbalize around that before, actually.
Well, and I'm just playing your words back to you. So it sounds like to me, you did the identification.
Thanks, Lynn.
Yeah, trust
like that
part of you. Because you knew, I just asked the questions, you filled in the blanks, and you actually showed yourself the pattern.
Okay.
So now what are you gonna do? Let's just reiterate. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I think I'm going to, before you and I talk next, I'm going to sit down and I'm actually going to carve out some time and put it in my freaking calendar and say, the Alive Hour, half hour to do X, the Alive Hour, half hour to record or work on the newsletter or whatever, or plan out the next season. So yeah, putting time in my calendar feels like a really good next step.
All right, what's at stake here if you don't?
Yeah, well, the future of this project, I think, and my sanity and my sleep. And I think just, my sense of self-worth. I feel really good about myself. Like, this is one of the first times in my life I felt really solid in myself, and I don't want to lose that. And I want to build on it and grow it. So yeah, there's a lot at stake.
So what I'm going to say to you, just see how it lands on your heart. In reinvention, we've talked a lot about deep identity, and it sounds like someone that you've always been wants you to be it now in this project.
Yes.
So do that.